This week in Beyond the Headlines, Deputy Police Commissioner David Morris wants confidence in police force restored.
Public want to trust and have confidence in their police that they can deliver a professional service, that they can be trusted in terms of the information that's provided to them, they can be trusted in terms of the identity of individuals, that when you report your crime, you're not going to find yourself splattered all over the front of a media outlet.
At a time when crime continues to be a serious concern within the territory, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force is taking steps to regain the public's trust and confidence, which, according to Deputy Police Commissioner David Morris, has been on the decline. Morris was speaking with JTV News during an exclusive interview in his office at the police headquarters when he made the disclosure that trust and confidence in the police is a big concern of his. But he said the problem exists in police forces around the world as well, including the UK, where he worked prior to his appointment in the BVI.
In terms of the trust and confidence of the police, there is, that's a big concern of mine. It's, no matter where you police, in my old force in the UK, trust and confidence was a big issue, because of course the public want to trust and have confidence in their police that they can deliver a professional service, that they can be trusted in terms of the information that's provided to them, they can be trusted in terms of the identity of individuals, that when you report your crime, you're not going to find yourself splattered all over the front of a media outlet where the information source has probably come from a policing source of some description.
The Deputy Police Commissioner spoke about the role that the media has to play in ensuring that public confidence is maintained, stating that media leaks have been a reason for the breakdown in the past. He added that without the trust of the public due to fear of such media leaks, they don't get important information and they cannot effectively deal with crimes.
So we here in the RVIPF need to make sure that we build that trust and confidence, that we can deal with those types of issues where we have media leaks, and the media have some part to play in this as well, because I firmly believe in working in partnership with the media. We rely on the media to get our messages out to the community, and the media rely on us to provide them with messages. But the media go outside of the accepted norms in terms of where those messages come from, confirming the information that's provided to them, instead of printing unconfirmed information which is not right, which is wrong, which can cause distress to our victims of crime, to our witnesses, to our community, all of which hits the police in terms of trust and confidence. And as I said earlier, if we don't have that trust and confidence, then people don't come to us. We don't get information. We don't detect crime. We don't prevent crime. And we see an increase in people who are trying to protect themselves instead of allowing the police to do their job. And we have to make sure that our officers are professional and that they understand that we are a service. We police by consent, and if we don't have the consent of the community, we cannot police.
So what steps are the RVIPF taking to rebuild the public's confidence in the police? From January to July this year, a special training session is being conducted at the Center for Marine Applied Studies at the college campus, where the entire force is being trained in the area of crime scene investigation. Morris said that this training will enable the officers to be more efficient and effective in gathering information at the scene of a crime that will be helpful in eventually solving the particular crime.
Our responsibility is to provide a service with knowledge, integrity and courage to our communities. And picking up on that word knowledge, we have a responsibility to ensure our police officers are professionally trained and have the knowledge of the law in terms of doing their job and being able to prevent crime, but when crime is committed, to be able to investigate that crime thoroughly and professionally and provide a service to our communities. And that's what this training program is all about. It's about training our frontline officers, that's the constables and sergeants, in investigative skills, to attend the crime scenes, to interview the victims, provide victim support, because as we know, when you are a victim of a crime, you are traumatized, regardless of what type of crime it is, and certainly in terms of victim support, but also about crime scene management, about witness interviews, taking statements, and in terms of when we do detect crime, in terms of interviewing the offender, putting a file together for the Director of Public Prosecutions to make a decision around charging and giving evidence in court. Now all the officers, this is a big program because traditionally The force has tended to run internally, using its own staff to provide the training, or we send staff away on courses, which is good, and we will continue to do that. But when we start to try to train a lot of officers, it's more cost effective to bring the trainer here and run the program.
The Deputy Commissioner explained that one of the issues victims of crimes have had in the past is not so much that the crime isn't solved, but even more so that there is a lack of service on the part of the investigating officers. Morris said that a large part of the training involves victim support, which has not been very present in the past.
The first thing, in my experience, the victims of crime want is a service. They want the police officers to feel that they are being serious, that they understand the feelings of the victim of having their iPad stolen, their jewellery stolen, their cash stolen, their wallets go missing, and this type of thing. So it's important that we have our officers can relate with victims of crime. It's important that victims want to know what we're doing.
Another area that has been brought forward by the public is the number of unsolved crimes that still remain up in the air, with little or no information being given about where the status of investigations are regarding these offences. According to Morris, all crimes are not going to be detected or solved, one reason for this being that some crimes are not reported. Morris said last year the force had a detection rate of 36%, and he added that his goal is to ensure that victims are kept abreast of where their investigations are regarding their particular cases.
We're not going to detect all crime. Last year we had a 36% detection rate, so we detected just over a third of all crime last year. Okay, reported crime, that is. Okay, because we know some members of the community don't report crime to us, but have reported crime. Right. Now, does that mean to say we failed? Well, we can do better. But my first priority is to make sure that the community and the victims of crime are dealt with sympathetically. We understand what their concerns and needs are, and we provide that service. We keep them informed. We tell them where we are. And if we haven't, we've interviewed all the witnesses, we've done the house-to-house inquiries, we've done the forensic, and we still haven't managed to detect the offender, right? We tell them where we are, but we don't close those crimes. Those crimes are still on our books, and when we do arrest people who come across our books for other crimes through forensic DNA, etc., and we trace them, we will detect those crimes, and we'll go back to the victim and tell them. But it's important that the officers provide that service, because if they don't, it's like any shop, isn't it? You go into a shop and you see a shopkeeper or a shop assistant who doesn't provide you a service, you don't go back to that shop again. And it's the same with us. If we don't provide a service to our victims, our witnesses, our community, they won't come to us. They won't give us information, and they won't provide us with information, and we can't do our job without that.
But there has been another factor influencing the relationship between much of the public and the police force in more recent times as it relates to confidentiality and trust. Many have questioned the move to continuously turn to the UK when seeking help to solve crimes locally or to further train the force. Members of the Scotland Yard arrived in the territory just over 5 years ago at a time when the BVI was seeing a record increase in the number of murders being committed. And again, at the helm of the most recent CSI training session at the college is former member of the Scotland Yard, David Winter, a consultant crime skills trainer. Morris said that the reason why the police force continues to turn to the UK for assistance, whether for training or crime solving, is because the BVI is a British territory and the laws and policies that exist here are closest to the UK.
When we advertise for contracted officers, we advertise in an online international web system, Police Oracle, and that goes out. We get applicants from Canadians, from Eastern Europeans, from the UK, from the Caribbean, and all that. And we go through a fair selection process to select the officers. We don't bring in officers who are just, individuals. We do the selection process, and we actually go through the Police Service Commission as a result of that. We put the interview questions, people apply, they send in their CVs, we shortlist, we interview those people, and we score them fairly, and the panel that does that is not just the police internally. We have a human resources representative, etc., and then we submit that to the Police Service Commission in terms of the process, the scoring, and it's the person that meets the standard who came top that we always tend to select. Now, yes, in my time that I've been here, the officers that have come here have come from the UK. Now, the reason being is this is the British Virgin Islands. It's a Virgin, the legislation here reflects the legislation of the United Kingdom. The policies and procedures here reflect the policies and procedures in terms of policing of the United Kingdom. So there is a synergy in terms of the UK and what we do. And that's not just this overseas territories. You can go to the Cayman Islands, you go to Bermuda, you go to the other overseas territories, and it's very similar. Anguilla, Montserrat, and that's why there is that sort of reflection in terms of the legislation, in terms of the way we investigate crime, and the way the officers themselves, the local officers here, undertake the investigations. My ambition is to stop sending officers to Barbados to be trained. I would like to train our newly recruited officers here in the British Virgin Islands. My ambition would be to have a law enforcement training facility at HLSCC. We've got a fantastic college there for the whole of the British Virgin Islands, and we should be making maximum use of that. And that's not just about the RVIPF. I know when I speak to Mr. Smith, he would like to see his customs officers trained there. Mr. Jennings, immigration, our other law enforcement agencies, and maybe one day we can get sufficient funding, we can set up a law enforcement facility, faculty there, where we can train our own recruits from the British Virgin Islands and the local college, and for them to understand the communities they're policing, the people that they're engaging with. And because of the nature of policing, people apply from other countries and other territories, we can train them locally.
During the handing over of a new closed-circuit television camera to the Rotown Anti-Crime Group on Thursday, March 1st, David Morris raised the issue of confidence in the police force with the group that had gathered for the event. Morris said that there is a need for improving the community's trust in the RVIPF, and he said this involves how the force develops and deploys its staff, a move he pointed out is based on the budget allocated to it. Morris said there is a need for partnership between police, community and government, and he said that neighborhood policing will be initiated in the near future as another step toward rebuilding public trust.
How we go about improving the community trust in us, how we go about improving community safety, in how the community feels safe living in the territory, and to do that it's about how we develop and deploy our staff. Obviously we're working within the budget that's set. Now in terms of trust and confidence, the only way that you can be successful at that is if you're working in partnership, and that partnership is around the police, it's around the community itself, and it's around government. And and in order to do that, we need to be more visible, and it's our intention to start introducing neighbourhood policing into our local communities with dedicated named police officers working in our local communities, addressing the needs of those local communities. Now that's not necessarily about reducing crime, because we have to do that anyway as one of our priorities, as you'll see in number 2. But it's about looking at the quality of life issues for our communities.
The Royal Virgin Islands Police Force has also begun the installation of some 29 CCTV cameras throughout Rotown, with plans to purchase several more for installation on the sister islands in the near future. In addition, the central control room to which all emergency calls will come and from which units will be monitored and dispatched based on closest response times is being tested, with plans to launch officially in April. According to David Morris, these initiatives, along with others, are being done in the hopes of better tackling the crime problem in the territory and giving the public the assurance they need that the police force is making strides in the right direction. This is Walter Barrett, Beyond the Headlines.